4 teenagers accused of carjacking Linda Fricky and dragging her to her death would be tried as adults on second-degree murder charges, Orland Parish District Attorney Jason Williams announced in a press conference. The accused killers are 17-year-old John Honoré and 3 15-year-old girls, Bernaya Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lenara Theophile. Court records indicate all 4 are being held on $1 million bond. Williams said the juvenile court system is not set up to handle cases this severe, but he's clear 4 or 5 years is just not enough. The juvenile sentencing limits would be inadequate to ensure that these young people are appropriately held accountable for taking a life. He added that his office is working with NOLA public schools to better enforce current truancy laws, making sure children are in school and laying out penalties for parents. If convicted, all 4 will face life in prison, a mandatory sentence for second-degree murder in the state of Louisiana. 73-year-old Frickley was killed on March 21st when police say the 4 juveniles carjacked her shortly after 1:30 p.m. and dragged her more than a block in Mid-City until her arm was severed. Frickley's younger sister, Jenny Lynn Griffin, said, "We really weren't looking forward to prosecuting a juvenile case because that wouldn't be enough sentence." She said, "What sentence is enough? It's really unknown, but as adults, they get a harsher sentence, and that's what we're after, the second-degree murder." This was one of the most violent carjackings we've ever seen. These young people dragged Mrs. Fricky, tearing her arm off as they fled the scene in her car. The grand jury decision to indict these young people for second-degree murder is fair and ensures they are properly held accountable. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams also said that it was wrong for them to prey on and kill one of our elders. It was wrong to punch and kick a 73-year-old woman. It was wrong to steal a car, and it was wrong to pull off with her still attached to it. It was wrong to drag her down that street screaming, and it was wrong to ignore her cries for mercy, which are embedded in the neighbors' minds and hearts and ears who are out there at that crime scene. There are lines you don't cross in a civilized society. New Orleans Police Chief Shawn Ferguson asked Williams' office to try the teens as adults after the horrible details were released. He said, look at the nature of the crime, the brazenness, broad daylight, no regard for this woman hanging outside the car. The district attorney issued a statement shortly after Freaky's death, decrying the crime, but initially stopped short of promising the juveniles would be prosecuted as adults. He said what occurred was heinous and unthinkable. I can't help but think of my own mother and other elders in our community. While we allow the NOPD to complete a thorough investigation, any and all persons that the evidence shows participated in the murder of this elder will be prosecuted to the absolute fullest extent of the law. He went on to say, I'm not an advocate for incarceration, but sometimes people need to be locked up. When you commit a crime like this, absolutely, you need to be locked up. After surveillance images of the suspects were decimated, Ferguson said the mother of one of the 15-year-old girls brought her into surrender to the police. Hours later, the parents of the 17-year-old boy also notified police of where he could be found. Police served a search warrant at another residence and found the male suspect with one of the girls also being sought. After the news reports of the first 3 teens being arrested circulated, the final 15-year-old girl surrendered to the police. The family of Fricky struggled to cope with the gruesome way in which their loved one was murdered. I never ever would want to wish this on another human being, said Kathy Richard, Linda's sister-in-law. Just opened the door, he kicked, tried to kick her out of the car, but it didn't work. How could you kick her? It's just beyond comprehension. It's evil. And you don't just go from being in school to just taking a walk to killing somebody. It was a murder, a downright murder. Honoré had a previous violent crime allegation charge in adult criminal district court that was dropped last year by Williams' office, court record shows. He and 2 other co-defendants were charged as adults for another alleged carjacking when he was 15. Henri was ordered to home confinement and later incarcerated at the Orleans Juvenile Justice Center while awaiting prosecution. He was ordered freed from confinement after Williams' office told the court it was dropping the case. So let me ask you folks a question. Should the Orleans Parish District Attorney, Jason Williams, hold some accountability? After all, he did let 17-year-old John Henri out of lockup just to commit this crime and kill this woman. Now I have another question. Was it right or wrong for the parents in this case to turn in their children to the New Orleans Police Department? Leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts here at Prime Crime Network.